Good afternoon. I hope everyone's well today. Thank you for watching. It is appreciated. As many of you know, I'm up in Cheshire, and specifically, I'm in the Runcorn and Helsby constituency of this United Kingdom. Under a year ago, we elected a Reform UK MP for the first time, Sarah Pochin. I wanted to talk a bit about the unique position that puts Runcorn and Helsby in, and the dangers and the advantages of having a Reform MP. The first thing I want to say is she is without a doubt the best MP we've had in 50 years. You can take that to the bank. Many people in the Red Wall only know a Labour MP, and they only know how unhelpful and unresponsive they are to any concerns that you'll bring to the table that are outside what the Labour Party's agreed party line is. So if you go to them about migrants with social housing being prioritised over locals, you won't even get a response. I know this from personal experience with my MP, as he was Mike Amesbury and Derek Twigg before him. They just don't respond to questions that they don't want to respond to. And this could be anything from the monarchy to spending on the armed forces to immigration issues to the way that they're handling the economy. If there's something they don't want to respond to and it's outside of their pet projects and what they think is important, you'll just get the short shrift and they won't even respond to you. Then you get into other things, like with this current MP that we've got. As I say, you don't really get that with this MP. This MP is attentive, she's responsive, she's visible. And again, how many people in the Red Wall have an MP that is unresponsive, that isn't visible, that doesn't know any issues locally of their constituents, and you never hear from them? I'd argue most of them, if not all of them. And the reason for that is it's easier to manage a political party if all your backbenchers are not kicking up a stink about anything in particular. My MP, as I say, is a breath of fresh air. Now, this is a blessing and a curse because you can get behind like the raising of the colours, and she was very vocal about supporting raising the colours, the flags all over the country. And up in Runcorn and Helsby, where I am, she was very vocal about supporting that. Or bringing to the table to the conversation that we should ban the burqa in the United Kingdom. Or what was the other issue? There was another issue. The diversity on the TV that everybody was up in arms about because of the way that she phrased it. What she said is people of colour, people of ethnic minorities were overrepresented in the media, but she didn't phrase it that way. She was a bit fast and loose with her language, and they all called her a racist. Now, the reason why we're making issues with things like this is specifically because of the danger that she poses. She has exposed Labour's vulnerability. And I mentioned this on previous videos, and I'll mention it here as well. The psychology of people that don't bother to vote because they don't think that their vote matters. When they look at Runcorn now, they'll see that, well, your vote actually does matter. So we look at the election results from earlier this year, last year and the year before, so from 2024 and 2025. This is the 2025 election. They pipped it by 6 votes. 6 votes. We got the Labour MP out, and that was on a turnout, I think it was just over 45%. Then you look at the general election the year before. It wasn't close, but Reform did come second, and that was just under 60% of the vote. Now, make no bones about it, Reform are going to win the next general election. Runcorn may go back to Labour. I don't think it will. I don't think Runcorn is that dumb that we want another backbencher MP in. However, that is the risk, that is the vulnerability of my seat because it's so wafer thin the margin. Me personally, the 15% differential between the by-election and the general election, I think many of those people are actually going to be Reform UK voters. That's just my view. But I do think that the Labour Party is going to throw everything in the kitchen sink to try and get this seat back. Now, I want to play a clip. This is the most recent example of my MP being responsive. Remember a few weeks ago when they announced that they want to move out the migrants out of the hotel? and they want to put them into council estates. Essentially, they want to build new council estates for the new British, for the substitute population. Well, my MP brought this up in the Commons today, so I'm going to play this clip now.
Does the Home Secretary agree that British citizens should be prioritised over asylum seekers in the allocation of publicly funded housing under the £100 million pilot scheme?
This is the specific issue that Labour backbenchers would never raise in the House of Commons. They would never say to their Prime Minister, or even if they were in opposition, my constituents are bothered that migrants, both legal and illegal, are being prioritised over the born and bred Indigenous British population. This isn't right and this isn't fair. This would never be raised by any mainstream political party because it's part of their plan. It's part of what they want to happen. They don't see you as an individual that's got an inherent right to live in the country they were born and bred in. They don't see you as any different from anybody else in the world. It comes down to cold numbers and a priority based system. Nothing to do with your actual rights to your ancestral homelands. That doesn't come up. It's not a concern to them. Why do you think the British, the English, the Welsh, the Scottish aren't protected in the United Kingdom as Indigenous peoples of our country, like you see in other countries, like in Canada, in America, and Australia, and New Zealand? Their Indigenous peoples are protected. We're not. Why is that? Anyway, let's see what the Labour midweek response is.
The Honourable Member may have heard me say earlier, we have started the process of hotel exit, which has meant we've reduced the amount of money that we're spending on that. We want all British citizens to be adequately housed. That's why we released the homelessness strategy that we did at the end of last year. And beyond that, we want to have order and control in our asylum system so that the British people and their proud record of providing shelter can be continued and that people can have confidence in that order and control.
We'll leave this video here. This is the unique vulnerability of my MP. She's probably the most important and the most vulnerable MP that Reform UK and any opposition MP currently is. She's got a big target on her back. Labour wants her gone. They will do anything and everything to trigger a by-election before the next general election because that will be easier for them to win. There would be limited resources in a general election. However, the psychological impact that she's had on the Red Wall is immense. There are many people in Liverpool, in North Wales, in neighbouring constituencies like in Warrington and in Hale Wood, and they're looking at this MP thinking, wow, she's actually saying things that we've all been saying for years, and she's actually paying attention to what local people are saying. This is the unique danger. And when I say unique danger, this isn't like Lee Anderson, Rupert Lowe, James McMurdoch, Danny Kruger, Nigel Farage. This is specific because this is Red Wall territory. This is up in the north, and this is something that was never expected to flip. All of these seats are gone in the next general election. There may be a few, or my seat in particular is going to flip back. And Sarah may be on the receiving end of it, unfortunately. Now that begs the question, would you want her to fight this constituency when there's a danger of it losing, or would you want her to abandon this constituency to go into a projected win for Reform UK? Your mileage may vary. I wanted to fight this constituency personally. Comment, like and subscribe. Do all of that good stuff. Have a good day and thank you for watching.